Hey folks, the creepiest of pasta here, coming at you again with this week's review, reaction of World of Sport Week 2. Right, so as usual, 4 matches. Beginning to see the format coming together really quite well. You know, you get the commentators and Stu Bennett talking at the beginning, sort of pre-building up what's going to be happening throughout the night a little bit and leaving some stuff to the imagination as well, which is good. All good work from Alex Shane, SoCal Val, and Stu Bennett on the whole commentary. Really, Alex Shane is sort of starting to edge his way forward as my favourite, as he gives the most informative stuff. SoCal Val's entertainment and Stu Bennett's the heel commentator. As far as I can see, they're starting to settle into those roles quite well. Okay, so let's go through it. Match 1 was Rampage versus Joe Hendry. Rampage came out and had Sha Samuels do the talking for him, which is always a great heel move. I love having that, like as a heel, having somebody do the talking for you. It just builds up that whole we love to hate him kind of thing, you know. CJ Banks looks absolutely brilliant. Like his looks to the camera, priceless. So it was a great attempt by Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry I've seen live at PWE in Air. And he's just fantastic. He's doing some fantastic work on Impact just now as well with Grado and Katarina. So I mean, I can't really praise Joe Hendry enough. They are trying to. It does look as if they're trying to sort of build him into probably eventually he's probably maybe going to take the belt. That's what it looks like to me so far. I think the match really was more about introducing the audience probably to the heel sort of tactics, and perhaps sort of just building up the sort of the characters a bit more. Rampage building up as more of a heel, and building up Joe Hendry as sort of the fan favourite kind of thing. So you know, I like how it's going. It's kind of like a warm up match, which is it's kind of strange to have the heavyweight the sort of World Championship as a warm up match, but I get why they were doing that. With only 4 matches in a night, you've got to put them. You know, you got to put everything somewhere. So anyway, match 2 was the ladder match. Match started off with the 4 competitors in the ring, 2 ladders up the top of the ramp, which was a clever way of doing it. So anyway, so Robbie X for me was the standout competitor. I mean, he was just bouncing and flipping all over the place. I mean, it was just. It was just great. He was really keeping up the pace as well. There's great moments from all competitors throughout it. Gabriel Kidd did an elbow drop off the ladder, and it looked absolutely brutal. And the camera didn't cut away, but it did cut away when Lionheart they did a slingshot into the ladder, and the ladder was sitting in the corner. Lionheart was slung into the corner, and just at the second he was going to hit it, they did a cut away. And I can understand why they do that. It's a tea time audience. You'll maybe not want to see people getting face first into ladders, but you saw the aftermath of it, so I'm not going to complain about that. I think that's great. You know, you have to pick your spots, kind of thing. You know, the rock bottom off the ladder. Now the reason I call it the rock bottom is because Alex Shane pointed out that it was, you know, the rock that sort of popularized the move, but I've never seen it done off a ladder before. I don't recall having seen The Rock done that off a ladder before, so it was interesting to see. Lionheart was working his butt off as usual. He always does every time I see him. All four really were building the suspense really well. I don't like the Lionheart's neck injury. I didn't count how many times. I maybe should have, but the commentators kept harking back to Lionheart's neck injury he had a couple of years ago, and to do it once or twice in the match would probably have been fine, because it kind of shows like what a great competitor he is. I feel like they maybe overdid it a little bit though, so it maybe starts to make him look a bit fragile, and you're kind of worried. You know, you don't want somebody who you're rooting for. You don't want to be worried about them injuring themselves as such like that, but maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. Some people go for that kind of thing. I personally don't, but there you go. That's the thing. That's the other thing as well. They are trying to, at the end of the day, they're trying to build up characters and rules and stuff like that to an audience that's probably not going to be familiar with a lot of it. So they have to try and do these things. Anyway, that's. Let me just consult consult my notes, sorry. So Gabriel Kidd wins and paves the way for more from him, which we found out at the end of the night. They're teasing that it's going to be a match with the Monster Crater, which I'm really excited about. I think it would have been really easy to overuse the Monster Crater, but I feel like if they don't overuse him, I think it's going to be a really sort of exciting. He's going to be the exciting competitor. I don't know that he'll ever be champion or whatever, but to have him in there, it's just like building him up as the monster. Doesn't care about championships, etc. He's just there to destroy, and that's it. I love that. I love that kind of. I love that kind of thing. Rachel Stringer interviewed Gabriel Kidd after the match. She tries really hard to look and sound enthusiastic, and I think she's doing a really good job for the most part. And there was a point where it looked to me as if either she was supposed to say something or Gabriel forgot that he was supposed to be saying something, but she kept the interview going really, really, really well. So I mean, hats off to her. And it's only week 2. Match 3, Adam Maxted and Nathan Cruz versus Drake and Doug Williams. Great solid match. Adam Maxted has bags of potential. He's got the look and sort of X factor for me personally. They keep mentioning he comes from Love Island, which I suppose again is to sort of try and bring in that tea time audience, try and get them to relate to it and to relate to him as a competitor. So I'm excited about the tag team tournament, which is going to end up in the crowning of the tag team champions. I think it's a really good way to do it, especially in the first season of the show, which we hope is going to lead to a second season. So the laddish behaviour between Nathan Cruz and Adam Maxted was quite entertaining. I don't know whether maybe take it a little bit too far at points where it's kind of like, right, okay, can you be serious for a second kind of thing, but again, we're only in week 2. They might have to build it up really high in the first sort of couple of weeks and then bring it down low, just so as you get sort of drawn into it. Drake didn't wow for me, but it was a nice solid job he was doing. I couldn't criticise it in any way. It just wasn't like with other competitors, so you get that sort of wow every so often, but I didn't get it from him. That's just my personal opinion, which is what we're here for. The heel behaviour is maybe a bit OTT from Adam Maxted and Nathan Cruz. Like, I feel that they're trying to build him up as a couple of cheeky chappies, but if they keep doing too much of the heel stuff, going to the other corner and like fighting the other competitors so they can't sort of break up the tag, etc., etc. I feel if they do that too much, they're in danger of becoming sort of the bad guys rather than the cheeky chappies you love to love. So that'd be something to watch, but we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Now, Doug Williams is not a person that I'm really too familiar with, to be honest. I heard the name, but it was touted by Alex Shane as being sort of the veteran kind of guy, and they're saying it's possibly going to be his last year as a competitor, which was switched to Bennett then and said, but you never retire from it kind of thing. So I didn't know the name, but I asked a friend of mine, Logan Storm. He's a pal in the biz. Doug Williams debuted in '93, trained at NWA Hammerlock by Andre Baker. It was a FWA heavyweight champ twice. Most notable work for me, from what Logan told me, would appear to be from the TNA. From TNA. I didn't watch TNA at the time he was on, so there you go. That's why I'm not familiar with him, I would imagine. But he's been the TV championship twice. Just while we mentioned that there, I love that they got a TV. They had a TV championship. WCW, if I remember correctly, had the TV championship as well, because William Regal, won it, and I believe Finlay won that as well, the TV championship. I think that's something they should bring back to possibly like WWE, etc. I think the TV championship. I think that's just a nice sort of belt to be. It's not going to be the top tier belt, but it's something to add a bit more interest. So that's possibly something World of Sport could be looking into getting in the future. So he's a TV championship once time TV championship, twice X Division champion, twice tag champ. I had my match for WWE against Carlito as a dart and a dart match and a tour. And then he was in Ring of Honor from 02 to 007, and I think he returned in 2015. And he's the OVW trainer for TNA. So by all accounts, a great trainer from what I've gathered. So he's definitely a guy that's paid his dues, and it was really nice to see someone like that get onto British television. Because you know, having not been a world of sport for the last 30 years, then you kind of feel like it's people like that probably have missed a chance where that world of sport had before, you know. So I think it's a great thing that he was on the match. But Adam Maxted and Nathan Cruz won, which was not a huge surprise to me. And I think I'm glad to see them going a bit further. I think probably for just now, because he's not been in the business that long, Adam Maxted is probably the tag team division is probably a good fit for him, but I can see him progressing much further in the future. So match 4, the headline match, main event, was Kaylee Ray versus Bea Priestley versus Viper in a triple threat match. They didn't actually call it a triple threat match. I'm not sure whether that's copyrighted by WWE, but there you go. Bea Priestley and Kaylee Ray had their entrances, which got a good reaction from the crowd, and Viper came out and got a huge reaction from the crowd. Viper certainly probably would appear to be the most popular with the crowd at the beginning. Our power moves, I've seen quite a lot from Viper online. I haven't seen her live yet, but I'm sure I will. Our power moves are absolutely brutal looking, though. I mean, it looks so real, you know what I mean? The realism is just incredible. At one point she did a double crossbody to Bea Priestley and Kaylee Ray, and it just looked absolutely brutal, man. I thought there's no way that does not hurt badly. The cannonball is always because you know, if you're flinging yourself at somebody, that's always got to hurt, and you know, no way to make it look like it doesn't hurt, you know. So the commentators explained the matches, the rules of the matches, for the triple threat, and that, you know, it's not an elimination style. It's if one person, you know, pins or submits someone else in that match, they win the whole thing. It's not an elimination style match. So, you know, I thought that was clever, explaining that to the sort of people who are perhaps switching on their television at 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and instead of finding quiz shows or Ninja Warrior or the Cube or whatever else there is on it at that particular time of the year, they're finding World of Sport, and you know, and if they watch it, which is what you'd hope they would, explaining some of the rules and stuff which they may not be familiar with if they're not actual wrestling viewers, is actually pretty clever, and it gets them into it, perhaps sort of entices them to watch more. So I thought that was smart. Biggest move in the match for me was curb stomp that Bea Priestley did to Kaylee Ray in the corner. It looked absolutely... I've overused the word brutal in this sort of reaction here, and I know I have. It just looked horrible. It just looked absolutely... You know that way when you watch something, you just go, "Oh, jeez, man, that's gonna hurt," and it just looked absolutely horribly painful. I'm sure that it's done with the safety in mind. They really pushed the safety announcements this week. I don't know what that it seemed like there was more safety announcements and talks about safety this week than there was last week, which again probably a good thing for the kids that are watching at the tea time slot on television. That's a good thing to really sort of show them that, and I think that's. I'm surprised with some of the moves that they cut away from. They didn't cut away from the curb stomp, and or if they did it very late. I'm almost certain. I'd have to rewatch it actually, but I'm almost certain I got the full effect of the curb stomp showing. And me personally, I don't like the curb stomp type moves. I just feel that it's you know that people aren't supposed to copy these things in real life, but it's just a horrible sort of. I don't like the move. For me personally, I don't like it. There you go. Kaylee Ray is basically, she's the pacemaker in this match, and she keeps, because Viper as sort of the powerhouse who isn't going to be moving that quickly in comparison with the other two. But Kaylee Ray is working her butt off to keep the pace up and keep everybody excited. It's genuinely the most suspenseful match of the night, because really I had no idea who was going to win. I figured it would probably be Viper or Kaylee Ray, and I was rooting for Kaylee Ray. And when she won, I was really pleased. To be the first ever World of Sport Women's Champion is just such an incredible honour. And the fact that they were the main event, I thought was absolutely fantastic. And you know what? They deserved to be the main event because it was the best match of the night. That's what the main event is, the best match of the night. And there you go. So the crowd reacted really massively for Kaylee Ray because, as I say, they built up the suspense and built up the sort of who's going to win, etc., etc. That when she did win, the crowd went wild, and it was great to see, and really well deserved by her. So I hope this review sort of reaction has been all right. I appreciate you watching. I consulted my notes, etc., etc. I hope that was okay, but it's better for me than working from my memory, because my memory is absolute rubbish. So I took notes, and I thought that'd be maybe a better sort of reaction review. So big thanks to Logan Storm for supplying me with the information about Doug Williams. I hope I put it across okay. I hope he's pleased with that. Thanks very much for watching, and I can't wait to watch World of Sport next week. The main thing I saw touted was that it's going to be the Monster Creator's going to be in action, and they're really building that up, and I cannot wait to see it. He's going to be just monster, just is the right word to use for it. So thanks very much for watching. Goodbye. Take care.